Hi guys, we're here for our last lesson that I'll be teaching, and just to kind of remind you of what we've been talking about over the last couple lessons. We were looking at how there were several tribes that had not taken their land, and they drew lots to find out who would go where into the promised land. So now we're on the last couple of those, and then everybody will be in the promised land in their area that was given to them. So we're going to catch up in chapter 19, and we're going to start in verse 24. So in verse 24, it says, "And the fifth lot came out to the tribe of the children of Asher according to their families." And then it goes on and talks about all the different places that, all the different borders. And one of them was the coast turned to Ramah and to the strong city of Tyre. So Tyre was very close to that area that they were given. And so this was for the tribe of Asher, and I was looking at a commentary from Matthew Henry, and he had mentioned some of the different things. And one of the things that he mentioned was that this was near Tyre and Sidon, and that's a very common town that we hear about in the Bible a lot. And he also mentioned Anna the prophetess, who was one of the ones that was at the temple when Jesus was brought to the temple. She was part of this tribe as well. And then in verse 32, he moves on to the next tribe. And it says, "And the sixth lot came to the children of Naphtali, even the children of Naphtali according to their families." And he says in the commentary that this is the land that was furthest north in Israel. And this was later known as the area of Dan. And we actually visited this when we went to Israel. And it was really interesting because this area of land looked totally different from all the other areas of Israel. It's like when you think of Israel, you think of like a lot of desert and rocks and things like that. And we went up to the very northern part there of Israel, and it was very lush and green. And that's where Mount Hermon is, and that's where the headwaters that make up the Jordan River, they come down from Mount Hermon, and there's like three different streams that come together and form the Jordan River. And I always thought that's very interesting because it sounds like the Trinity. You know, it's got three that go into one, and that's all in this area of land that was given to Naphtali, a very beautiful portion of Israel that we visited. And you go, you know, they talk about going from Dan down to Beersheba. So this is when they're talking about Dan. This is the area that they're talking about that has is very green and lush. And then you go down to Beersheba, and it's pure desert as you get closer down to the Dead Sea. So pretty interesting to have been in that area that they're talking about. So moving on to verses 40 through 48, says, "And the seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan according to their families." And he talks about the different areas that they had. And it's mentioned that that the area that Dan was given, the tribe of Dan, was along the border of the Philistines. And the tribe of Dan was a very large and powerful tribe, and it protected that border against the Philistines. And as the children of Israel were in the desert, the commentary said that the tribe of Dan was one that was at the rear of the children of Israel. So they basically protected the rear flank. And so they were kind of like sort of the muscle there. They were like the tough guys that would be able to protect Israel against the Philistines, and protected them when they were in the desert from anyone coming up behind them and trying to rob them and things like that. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well. And then in verses 49 through 51, it says, when they had made an end of dividing the land for inheritance by their coast, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Joshua the son of Nun among them. According to the word of the Lord, they gave him the city which he asked, even Timnath-serah in Mount Ephraim, and he built the city and dwelt therein. These are the inheritances which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel divided for an inheritance by lot in Shiloh before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So they made an end of dividing the country. So finally we come to the point where everything has been divided up. Everybody has been given direction as far as getting into the promised land. And now Joshua is the last to be served. And I thought this is my favorite part of this whole study that we've been doing, that I've done anyway, my part, is that I had never heard that. I never heard that preached. I'd never heard a lesson on that. But I thought that was so cool that Joshua here, he is the leader of this nation, and everybody else gets their piece of land first, and he is the last to get his piece of land. And I thought, man, that is a real picture of humility. He could have very easily said, I want mine first, and then all you other guys get yours. But it was very Christ-like that he served others before himself, showed a lot of humility, and I thought that was really interesting, and that was one of my favorite parts of this whole thing. So I've enjoyed doing some teaching here with you guys. I hope you guys have gotten something out of it. I really appreciate you guys listening, and some of the nice texts and things that people have sent me saying about the teaching, and I really appreciate that. But it's been a real blessing to me, and I'm not sure who's taking over next week, but they'll start out in chapter 20, and we will go from there, okay? Thanks for listening. God bless you.